Scorpios are very fiery, very passionate, and they're also a little bit mysterious. So, yeah, I don't know. I just think I'm a Scorpio through and through, so.
She's a newcomer on the scene, first time doing American radio interviews as well. Hello, Indy.
Hello, and yes, it is my first time.
Wow. Well, we'll try to make it easy on you. We're here to talk about the new song Threads, which, by the way, is very cool, very emotional. I enjoyed listening to it quite a bit.
Thanks so much. I loved writing it.
Calista, you want to get us started here? You've got an astrology question pertaining to the song, and I think that'd be a great place to start. Yeah.
So you called this a Scorpio heartbreak tune. Yeah. Could you elaborate? I know you're a Scorpio.
Yes. The person I wrote about is a Sagittarius, and I live with my best friend in New York who has the same birthday to the day as me, so she's a Scorpio as well. And we both really love the song that I wrote, and so it just feels very like Scorpios are very fiery, very passionate, and they're also a little bit mysterious. So, yeah, I don't know. I just think I'm a Scorpio through and through, so it just feels... I wrote it around October, November, so I wrote it during Scorpio season, and I just think of the song, I think of the fall, I think of it being a little bit cold, I think of late night, going to different bars, waiting for that text, the miscommunication, so I think of that time, so it is literally written during Scorpio season.
Now, looking more at a hard science musical angle behind the song, if you will, there's influence in Threads that I've seen people relate to Bon Iver, to Tears for Fears. I also hear a little bit of maybe the slower side of Tate McRae. There's a decidedly modern element to the song as well. So, I mean, my question, I guess, is kind of like, if you were to pick a decade that this song really fits in, because Tears for Fears is a little old. Tate McRae is pretty new. Bon Iver is kind of in between. What decade do you think fits Threads the best?
I would say current. I would say that they're a massive. I'd say my style is very 80s influence, very lyric focus, upbeat pop. I'm very influenced by 80s synths, Roland, Juno. A lot of those synths are 80s sounds that I reference that are in the track. But I do think the track is it's the era of my current life, and I was born in 98, so now it's 22. So I think it's supposed to be a very accurate depiction of my life, so definitely current. But I'm very influenced by those synths, which I put in the sound to give that sense of yearning, to give that sense of early 20s, and yeah.
Okay. And you actually started out writing poetry, so you even published 2 books, one called Sticky Notes and one called Dudette. Mm-hmm. How is writing poetry and writing a song any different?
Well, poetry is a bit more free flow, so you have more of an ability to say what's on your mind. I think songwriting for me naturally was the next step. I've been writing songs my entire life, but writing poetry helped me because it helped me figure out just being free with writing and music, and then it influenced me to figure out how to cohesively write a pop song and figure out the chorus and figure out rhyming and figure out the way that sound like a word sings, if it sings well, if it sings badly. And so I think that it always influences songwriting. I think most songwriters are writers first,
Yeah. And you've said before that first and foremost, you're an author. When you Google your name, the first thing that shows up is that you're an author. But do you think, I know it's a little early to tell, do you think at some point down the line, maybe musician will start to creep up to the same level as author?
Of course. I think maybe I would say writer. Is it for not? It's just, I think they go hand in hand together. I think that I've always been a musician. I've always played guitar, and now I'm learning piano. So I think they go hand in hand.
As a newcomer to the music industry, what kind of advice have you gotten so far?
To forge my own path and to write music for yourself, because if you because you're going to have to perform these songs and live with them. So you've got to write not what you think people will like, but what you want and what you've experienced, because as a writer, you can only write about what you know and what you've gone through. You
have more music on the way. Threads is sort of the introduction. That's the very first taste that we get of Indy and what she's all about. But I saw that you've teased the EP is going to have all kinds of different musical flavors. Could you give us a little teaser of maybe how extreme it's going to get, bouncing from one sound to the next?
The next song is extremely different. It's very sassy, kind of evil, kind of fun. It's a little bit, I would say, Sublime meets Britney Spears, honestly. It's about expectations, about anxiety. It's about like embracing that evil side of myself that I struggle with. And it's very, very different to Threads. They're all very, I wanted each song, because I've been kind of living with these songs and creating them for a few years now. So the EP is quite cohesive in terms of the melodies and the songwriting and their references, but each song is very different, and that's very much me because I have different moods, I have different moments, and so the next song is very, very sassy and fun, I think. Yeah.
It sounds very Scorpio as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's very red and blue. Just think, that's all I can say, but think of cop car sirens.
Okay, that inspires another question real quick. Are you one of those people who has chromatic synesthesia?
I'm not sure. I mean, I definitely, for me, it's more about, I'd say I don't hear colors, but I would say that there is always a color for a song. And what I hear, maybe it's just me being a little bit pedantic, but when I'm in the studio, I can completely hear when there's one, if there's a stack of like 10 melodies, I can hear one where it's wrong, and I can tell straight away to get it out. Like, because I'm writing the song and I'm trying to get out of my head, and I'm getting the instruments and things like that with a producer, I know to trust myself where, if it's off key or where it needs a synth or whatever. So I wouldn't say specifically synesthesia, but I definitely think that I have a color for the song, and I know when it's wrong and when it's right.
Wow. Well, all of that has gone into giving us the emotional side of Indy. That's what we've experienced so far, and apparently coming soon, the evil side as well. Will that be last question here real quick about this follow-up song? Will it be in time for spooky season, Halloween, or no?
Yep.
Excellent. Well, that's going to give us something to look forward to, absolutely. So, Indy, thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes for us, giving us a little bit of that backstory, telling us a little bit about what's to come. It's interesting because you're right here at the start. You have everything laid out in front of you. This is where it all begins. So thank you for allowing us to be a part of it.
Oh, thank you so much for having me too.